Good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How's everybody doing? How you all doing tonight? Oh, come on. You can do a little bit better than that. How are you doing? Doing good? Yes. Yes. My two favorite things in one room this evening. A bunch of people talking about business and free beer. And a lot of you intellectual people that are a lot smarter than me. So thank you for showing up this evening. You know, it's one of those what can go wrong will go wrong, but we will figure it out. So if you saw the video, we didn't have a little bit of sound on that, so I figured I'll just do my little own intro. My name's Will Hardison. I am the... Thank you, three people. Thank you. I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I hope to... All right, Peanut Gallery, love it. Yeah, you've got no life. All right, not you, me. Me, like, yes, you've done it. Should we start over? You want to start over, me and you? Start over? Okay. Been doing this for 4 years now, a little over 4 years. Hope to continue to keep doing it for as long as they will have me. We've done all sorts of topics. How many people are new this evening? New. Holy smokes. Retention. Not good. But maybe I shouldn't do these. But the people that are here for the first time, thank you. Thank you for giving up your evening this evening. Thanks for coming out. We do have a blast. We have a wonderful time. I think I have a clicker in over there with Anna. Anna, I'll just let you roll. But welcome. Seriously, thank you so much for coming tonight. Pretty lighthearted, as you can kind of already tell. There's no quite script for me, which that's not a good idea. But you are sitting in the Frontier building. This building is a co-working space on the bottom, so it is open and free on the first floor, I believe, pretty much all day. Tons of events going on. If you've not checked out the Frontier space during the day, I encourage you to come out, grab a table. It does not look like this. There's desks and little, areas with couches. There's always a food truck here. I do believe now every day there's a food truck, a rotating food truck. So come out, enjoy it. If you do have the need for an office space, there is some offices above on some of the floors, so you're welcome to check those out as well. All right, so a lot of first-timers this evening. To kind of give you the rundown, presenters are going to get 5 minutes, and then I will be Triangle Girl this evening, and I will make a sound much like this, ding. That'll be their ding at the 5-minute mark. They know that they can keep going. That is not a hard stop at 5 minutes. So look at maybe like the 6-minute mark for these presentations to kind of wrap up, and then we will allow for 2 to 3 questions depending on how long they do go after that. So you will have a chance to ask the speakers, and then most of them do stick around afterwards, so you're welcome to kind of pull some aside, ask them more questions, and hang out afterwards. We are very social, but we love to do it online this evening. If you want to use the hashtag RTP180, please follow the RTP and tweet during the evening. I always like seeing the funny remarks. A lot of people tweet at me during the evening, and I then take those and bring those up here. So it's a good time overall. So please feel free to tweet and use that hashtag throughout the evening. Throw away your trash. Your mom does not work here. Yeah, one person, great. They get better or worse depending on how you look at it. But please, the Frontier and the RTP are very gracious to let us use this space this evening. So let's just leave it how we found it. So just throw away your trash, the empty, plastic cups and everything. Just make sure you pick up after yourselves. And everyone can hear you. The reason I say that is there's no carpet on the floor. There's no ceiling, or there is a ceiling. Michael Jordan, the ceiling is the roof. There is no drop ceiling. It's kind of an open area. So the voices and the noise carries in this room. So if you're off to the side or in the back corner and talking to somebody, the presenters can hear you and everyone else can hear you. So please just text each other or get online and do the hashtag RTP180 and have a conversation. Are you ready? All right. Okay. Oh, you know what? I have got a little bit of an announcement. So after doing my own thing for probably close to 10 years, I got a real job. My first real job ever. I've done a lot of work for a long time, but I've not really had a real job. So now I have a real job at age 33. Yes, thank you. My wife is very happy. That's all. Okay, ready? Sarah, are you ready? Anybody can do better than I. Oh, actually, you know what? Where are you going? Oh, thank you. Thought you were leaving. All right, I can keep going. There's a credit card that somebody did find. Your name has to be, to claim it, Martha Combe? Or Combe? Martha? Martha? What's the budget on this? I'll put it up here. I got it. I'm going to do some Amazon and then I got it, right? Okay. All right. Sarah Glova is the founder and president of Reify Media, a digital media company that creates websites and online training. A self-described nerd and lifelong learner, she's also a doctoral candidate in the NC State's Instructional Technology Program, the current president of NAWBO, N-A-W-B-O, I told you I was going to butcher it, my apologies, Greater Raleigh, and an advocate for female entrepreneurs, women in tech, education, and of course, all things Raleigh. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Miss Sarah Glova.
Thank you. And since I get to go first, can we just do a big round of applause for this event and its focus on women in business? That is incredible. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank you for being here. And just by being here, you are advocates for women in technology, or women in business. I'm in technology, but women in business. And I just want to thank you for that. So thank you for being here. I'm going to be speaking tonight about some of my favorite North Carolina women business owners. But I don't want to do that as a stranger, so let me introduce myself. My name is Sarah, and I do own Reify Media. I did that by accident, like a lot of entrepreneurs do. I am so lucky I get to work on some incredible projects. I founded it here. We work with people all over the country, but I founded it here, which means I get to work in some pretty cool spaces. You guys might recognize this guy from upstairs. I also get to work with an incredible team. I work with some of the most creative, intelligent, kind, effective people. I am so lucky. But I am an entrepreneur, and that means that a lot of times I'm the one making decisions about things, and I'm planning the strategy, and there's no one to answer my questions. At the end of the day, I kind of have to answer them. I can bounce things off my team, and my team is wonderful. But I still have to answer those questions, and that can be isolating. So a few years ago, I started going to entrepreneur groups, women in business groups. I joined an organization that changed my life, and I'm here to tell you about that tonight. But to tell you that story, we're gonna have to time travel. Are you ready? Thank you. So let's go to 1987. Let me tell you a little bit about where we are here in 1987. First of all, Christina Applegate is going to show up on Married with Children for the first time this year. It's awesome. We're going to meet Gordon Gekko and learn why money never sleeps. Whitney Houston is going to dance with somebody. And gas is 90 cents a gallon. Also, and there's no debate about this, we got the greatest movie of all time. All time. Yeah. All time. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. There's a drawback to 1987, though. If you are a female business owner in 1987, you can be required to have a male cosigner. You can be required to have a male cosigner even if, ready for this, even if the account is a loan, a credit line, or a property for your business, even if you yourself have great credit and strong assets, even if you are a 100% owner, and even if that means that your male cosigner is your high school age son. 1987. So anybody want to come back to 2017 with me? Because baby, that is not my corner. So what changed? What happened? Because now I don't have to do that. This was within my lifetime, 1987. I was like a little smaller, but I existed. So within my lifetime, what changed? Well, in 1988, HR 5050 passed. That was under the Reagan administration. And it did a lot of things for women in business, but one of the main things was it got rid of that. It made it illegal to require that women have a male cosigner, a male relative cosigner. How did that happen? Credit to, the Reagan administration, but how did that happen? Women. So this is the National Association of Women Business Owners. They formed in 1975 as a national organization. And they decided that women in business needed an advocacy group, and that's what they became. So they were focused on women in business, but they really wanted to get some stuff changed because, again, 1987, male cosigner, we already talked about that. Here's what I want to share with you. Here in Greater Raleigh, there was a local chapter, and it formed in 1978. This is an article from the Raleigh Times. Women in this area got together in 1978 to be a part of the National Association of Women Business Owners. Women in this area for 10 years fought for HR 5050 until it passed in 1988. And as you can tell, I'm a little excited. 10 years of women in this area fighting for something that I directly benefit from today. Let me tell you about two of them. So this is Mary Diener. Here, she was the first president of NAWBO Greater Raleigh. She went on to receive an award from the U.S. Small Business Administration for her advocacy for women in North Carolina. Carrie Stacy was the second president of NAWBO Greater Raleigh. She went on to become the president of the national chapter. So the whole darn thing. That's a picture of her with George there as part of that that was 1989. Now, I'm excited to share this with you because, again, I benefit from what these women fought for and what they did. I recognize that in no way am I saying, finish line, thank you for doing that. Now my life is awesome. My life is awesome, and a lot of it is thanks to those women who fought before me. There is work to do. I hope we can talk about this as we're doing the panel discussions about where we still have to go. But more importantly, I want to say, this organization still exists because of this. So there is still a NAWBO Greater Raleigh, and it is still focused on women in business because there is more work to do. But the biggest change that I wanted to bring in front of you tonight is, I see those statistics and they motivate me. They make me say, I want to change something, but they don't necessarily inspire me. They don't necessarily make me feel like I can change something. Women like Mary Diener and Carrie Stacy make me say, I can change something. And that's the message that I want to share with everyone. Not just because it can be isolating as a female business owner, but because as we think about the next generation, the next 40 years, when you see statistics like what I shared in the previous slide, you feel like there's a lot of work to do. But when you hear stories about women like Mary Diener and Carrie Stacy, you know that that work is possible. You're not just motivated, you're also inspired. And so I want their stories to be shared. So I think it's neat to bring this back up. Here's the article again from the Raleigh Times announcing that first National Association of Women Business Owner Greater Raleigh group. They met at Diener & Associates in the RTP. It was almost 40 years ago that a group of women met not far from where we are tonight, and here I stand in front of you directly benefiting from the work that they did, and as the current president of the Greater Raleigh chapter. And I just really appreciate everything they did for everyone, and I no longer feel like I'm alone as an entrepreneur. I am part of a legacy of women business owners, and I look forward to helping the women who come in the next 40 years. Thank you.
All right. Nice job. Way to set the bar early and set it high. That's the longest clap anybody's ever gotten here. Good for you. 2 questions. She doesn't bite. I don't bite. 2 questions. 2 questions. Yes, ma'am. Here we go.
So, what's your ideal client for REIFI?
That is a great question. Thank you for asking it. So at REIFI Media, we develop solutions for associations, healthcare groups, finance groups, and companies that are looking to get training online. Does anyone in here have to do CE? Continuing ed? Yeah, a few people. So let's say, for example, that you're in banking, and every year you have to do some education so that you can keep whatever certifications you have in banking. That used to just be done in person, where you would go to a training session and then write that you were there and you would get that CE. A lot of that's moving online now. And these companies and these associations and these nonprofits and these healthcare groups, they need a digital solution for getting that content online. There's a lot of ways to do it. And so they work with a group like us. They give us the content. Hey, we need all these nurses to know about vaccines. And then we put that online for them so they can track who took it and things like that. So our ideal clients are the kinds of organizations that have to put learning online, whether it's for CE or whether they're trying to do some kind of public education initiative. Thank you for your question. I do want to mention, I can answer questions about REIFI Media, and obviously I'm happy to talk about that. But I can also talk about the history of women business owners if you want to quiz me. So.
So you mentioned that you're the president of NABO now. What is the first thing on your agenda? Like, what do you think is the next big thing that needs to happen in North Carolina?
Thank you for asking that. So, and I am the president of NABO. I do want to say I'm the president of NABO Greater Raleigh, so the local chapter, which I know that's what you meant, but I just want to make sure you guys aren't giving me credit that I don't deserve yet. I think that one of the biggest problems that women business owners are facing, women are actually starting businesses at a faster rate than men. But women are much slower at getting businesses to $1 million in revenue or more. And the rate of women getting to that level has not significantly changed since 1992. Now, there are a lot of reasons for why, and there are a lot of articles about why, but what I'm focused on is not the why, it's just how do we change it. And with NABO Greater Raleigh, we're really focused on making sure that some of the bigger businesses in our area are members. NABO Greater Raleigh has always been a friend to the newer entrepreneur looking to get started, looking for an advocacy group and a networking organization, looking for what I was looking for when I started joining that chapter, which was selfish. I was looking for, some women to hang out with so I didn't feel so alone when I had a question about payroll. But what I think it needs to move to, and what it has moved to, I don't want to say that it's not getting there already because there are great women who have done a lot of work, but I think it needs to be the space that you think of when you think of women business owners so that women like me can hear those stories. If I hadn't gone to NABO Greater Raleigh, I don't know if I would know those stories like I do now. A few weeks ago, I was on the floor of someone's office going through the NABO archives to find those new newspaper clippings. If you searched for Mary Diener today, you would find, her business listing, but you wouldn't find what I just shared in this presentation. So somebody needs to write a book. If you have any money and you want me to, go ahead and talk to me after. And I think somebody needs to be telling these stories more, because even if you're not in NABO Greater Raleigh, I think you need to know that this is possible. So my goal as president this year, this is the longest answer, thank you for being patient with me, is to make sure that we're having the kind of programming that interests women business owners who are at $1 million in revenue or more, that has mentoring and advocacy that supports all facets of business owners, but helps business owners at any level recognize how they can get to a certain level. And to make sure that we're inviting the kind of voices that focus on not just business development, but also advocacy. So in November, we have Adrienne Cole, the first woman CEO of the Greater Raleigh Chamber of Commerce. We're looking at having CED come in January, along with Christopher Chung of the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina, EDP&C. So just making sure those voices are there and that it's not just about business, but also about advocacy for women business owners, because I think they're hand in hand. Thank you.
Nice job. Really nice job. I had a credit card if you needed some money. I just had a credit card. Can I use your credit card to support the book? You good? No? Okay. Worth a shot. Kim, are you ready? You sure? All right. So Kim Hammer is the owner of Bittersweet and Raleigh Provisions. She is a UNC graduate. She pretty much grew up her entire life here in North Carolina, and kind of through a roundabout way, some various career changes, she came about starting these two businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Kim Hammer. Yeah. I mean, you own a bar.
Oh, let's do this.
Have to bring the drink up, right?
Y'all have no idea how out of my element I am right now. Like, y'all don't know me, but if you knew me, you would think this is really funny right now, which is why I have notes. And it's why I have a PowerPoint that my son made for me. No, I'm serious, which leads really nicely into what I'm kind of here to talk about, which is my babies. So my name is Kim Hammer, and I own Bittersweet and Raleigh Provisions. We are two businesses in downtown Raleigh. And I often like to tell people, though, that I have 4 babies. I have 2 business babies, Bittersweet, Raleigh Provisions, and I have 2 human babies that I actually grew, Max and Evie. And basically, when I tell people that, they usually ask me next really quickly how I'm able for those 4 babies to coexist in a happy world together. I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest version of that because I have 5 minutes, and I'm going to tell you 100p I'm going to go over that 5 minutes, so strap in. But basically, I think the reason these things work well together is because I essentially have the same goals for my business that I have for my children. And it's 2 things. It's independence, and a contribution through hard work. I believe that my small businesses are an important contribution to my community. And quite frankly, the best part about being an entrepreneur is that nobody gets to tell me what to do. And when you're a mom, that feels really great sometimes. I basically decided to look beyond the risk of being an entrepreneur, which is an enormous amount of risk. But it was mostly because I want to delegate, I want to manage, and quite frankly, I want to control my own destiny. That's how I ended up here. And the best part about doing that and also being a parent is that nobody gets to tell me that I can't bring my kids to work, which I do all the time. Nobody tells me, hey, stop playing with your kids, it's time to work. Stop helping your son with his homework. I don't really do that. It's time to work. I never, in all of the time that I've had children, I've had my businesses, and I never at any point felt like I had to put down a baby to pick up my work. Nobody got to tell me to do that. But the first person that I really think modeled that for me is, wait, oh, see? Oh, there you go. See, I told you guys I was new to this. So this is Betsy Johnson. I don't know how many people know who this is, but this was my first boss, okay? And she's 71 right here, okay? So that should tell you a little bit about how outside the box this amazing international fashion designer is. She was my first grown-up job. Betsy was my boss. And if you know Betsy, then you know, you know Lulu. Okay, this is Betsy's daughter, Lulu. She's probably about 6 years old here. And the cool thing is that Lulu and I are roughly the same age. So when not here, but when I worked for Betsy, Lulu and I were like friends. We were good friends. And I got to hear a lot about like what it was like to grow up with Betsy as a mom and to have this really unconventional childhood. And she would talk about doing homework at the studio with Betsy, being part of Fashion Week. I mean, really romantic things to a child, a little girl who likes dress up. But the cool thing was, it's like I saw how that manifested itself as an adult. And I really admired this like amazing closeness that they had. And Lulu just so respected her mom and the creativity, the individuality that she had, and this amazing business that she had built up. And then I also saw that Betsy really saw Lulu as like a comfort and a muse. And I thought that was a great thing. I wanted it. And so years later, I also saw this modeled at the Carborough Farmers Market. I used to sell at the Carborough Farmers Market, my baked goods, my first little company down here. And the thing about the market was there's kids everywhere. Like, all the farmers brought their kids to the market. They would be doing their homework in the back of the trucks. Sometimes they're selling at the table. And the wonderful thing about it is I was able to bring my kids to the market. My kids were at varying degrees of toddler or infancy, and like, gotta love Carborough. I literally could be breastfeeding my daughter while I was selling baked goods. Like, I did not have to hide. I got my son like drawing in the back of my car while I was selling, and had his sister on my arms. And then the best part is this sense of community, all this hard work. The farmers had their kids there. The chefs, the restaurant owners that were shopping had their kids there. And that was a wonderful thing for my kids to get to see. It was a part of them growing up. This is bittersweet. This is my first storefront. We are a dessert, coffee, and cocktail bar in downtown Raleigh. I started this business plan probably 5 years before it was open. I started working on it when my daughter was in preschool, my youngest, trying to hit the ground running when I knew she was gonna start kindergarten. And I talked about it with them the whole time I was doing it. And it was never like this dream, this sort of like thing that might happen. It was like, this will happen, this is what it will be. And I know they believed enough in it because my son actually designed the concept for this logo one day when I was trying to figure it out. This is all him. And so it just became a part of their life. Oh, this is yummy things. And see, but you see, this is them. This is Max and Evie getting to put up the sign with my friend Matt McConnell. Like, I didn't even get to do that. They got to do that. Like, this is, oh, I love this picture. This is Evie twirling after we finished the floor. The first time we laid the concrete, she roller skated all over the floor. This just shows you, like, we've had birthday parties. They've been a part of that at Bittersweet. It's their second home. This is my partner, Lewis, teaching her how to make espresso. You gotta start them young. This is all of us at Bittersweet's first anniversary, like our whole crazy family here, but it's been a part of their life the whole time they've been alive. This is my second business. This is Raleigh Provisions. We opened just this year, and we are a North Carolina local gourmet gift shop. So 90% of the stuff we have there is a small North Carolina business. Now, the best part about this for me, I can get really gushy about it, is that some of these businesses are the very same businesses that I was at the Carborough Farmers Market with. And what I realized having a bar in downtown Raleigh was that a lot of people didn't realize how many amazing, wonderful North Carolina companies there were, like right there. And so instead of constantly telling them, you should get this, you should try this, well, where can I get it? Okay, well, how about I just put this place here? And that's where you can get it. And when I went to do this shop, my ex-husband, my children's father, was the architect for Raleigh Provisions. And I felt like it was really important to show my kids that just because we didn't work out in a marriage didn't mean that we couldn't still work with each other, that we couldn't find a value in the things that we're good at and this larger family that we have. Oh, hey, here's a really cool thing. So you saw lots of pictures of Evie because my son's 14 and a half and like never wants his picture taken. So that's my son. And aside from making this PowerPoint presentation for me, he's 14 and a half. And so he actually got his worker's permit this year, and he works at Raleigh Provisions a lot of times after school and on the weekends. And he really feels great about it. It's like, he tells me nonstop, like, hey mom, I'm the only one of my friends that has a job. And I like that he thinks that's really cool. And I like that he thinks minimum wage is a lot. Like, that works out well for me. So, but it was funny because we were talking the other day, and it's my crazy ones. And I said to him that I hope when you grow up that you find a career that you love as much as I love being an entrepreneur, as much as I love being a small business owner. And he said to me, he said, but your job drives you crazy. And you're always so stressed out. Are you sure that you love it? And I said to him, I said, do you have any doubt that I love you? And he said, no. And I said, well, basically being an entrepreneur is a lot like having kids. You fluctuate between, I love you so much, to you are driving me effing crazy. Get away. And so when I look back, I feel like, you know, I've always said that if I fail at business, it's okay. I'll sleep at night, it's fine. I did my best. But if I did my job as a parent and I use my businesses as a model, I don't know what they're gonna decide to be in life, but I'll feel like I did my job if they are independent enough to chase down the things that they love and they want to be, and through their hard work, they contribute to their community. Yes.
Very well done, very well done. Let's find one question. Time for one, real quick. Oh, sorry. Light's a little blinding there. You don't mind passing it down to that gentleman?
Yes. What was your biggest challenge or obstacle to your success?
Probably, as of recently, it's probably that learning that the best thing that I could do for my company was to really focus on delegating and managing. I think it's the same thing as like when you're at home and you go to pick up, it's like that mental load that we talk about. You go to pick up things off of the floor and you go, oh, I'm gonna put it in the hamper. And then you're like, oh, the hamper's full. So now I gotta do laundry. And then like, oh, there's wet clothes in the laundry. And it's like, it just turns into this whole process and now you've lost like 2 hours. And I think the moment that I realized that, and actually it was my partner Lewis here, who's my bar manager, I'm gonna give him credit for this, is that I was told, hey, you know what? We don't need you to go back in the kitchen and put 7 ingredients in a bowl and then put it in a pan and put it in the oven. We need you to actually go out and talk to your people, to delegate what everyone else needs to be doing. And that was a big step for me, because I had been, with my first company, Biddy Hayes, I had been in the home, in the kitchen, doing it all for so long. And now it's now what I realize is the best thing for my business is to give other people responsibilities, hold them accountable for it. And that's the best way now as my company grows, well, companies grow more and more. That's the best thing that I can do for them, to give them security in their jobs. And they all like their jobs, so I wanna keep doing well by them. But that was a big hurdle for me, because there's times I still want to be in the kitchen putting 7 ingredients in the bowl.
Awesome. Thank you. You know, I give you a lot of credit. I know that you kind of came in here and you started off with, you know, oh, I'm not the best like at the PowerPoint and putting things together for a presentation. And if you know me, like, you know, this is really weird for me to do this, but you nailed it. And you nailed it because I think like your passion comes through. And whether, you know, you're a great public speaker, I still get the gut starts to feel like right the minute before I come up here, I'm just like, holy crap, about to walk up in front of 300 people with no script. What do I say? Right? So, and a lot of people like tonight are like, yeah, we know, we heard that. But your passion comes out. So I think that's fabulous that you were able to, in a roundabout way, start these companies, build them, both of you so far, and all of you that are going to come up here talking about your passion. So if you've noticed one thing, it is that I've kind of tabled the triangle for this evening. So I'm just letting you go within reason. So feel free to, don't keep us here till 9 o'clock. There's, you know, we do have a light bill to pay. No, I was kidding. Just keep it within reason, but there's no triangle tonight. Reed Miller, you up? You next? You ready? Okay. Reed is the founder of her self-named company, Reed Miller Apparel Wardrobe, staples for the active woman. Reed was a bike commuter and a public health researcher who decided to start her own company to address a need she had for high-quality, timeless, great-fitting clothing with basic functions like pockets designed for movement. Ladies and gentlemen, Reed Miller.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Hello. So I'm glad that Will reminded me of all the reasons that I should be nervous speaking in front of the group. There's 300 people in the room? Is that what you said? 300? So I'm Reed, and as you might imagine, this is my company, Reed Miller Apparel. I'm based in Durham, North Carolina. Of course, Durham's in North Carolina. Okay, so, this is the right way? Okay. Oh, the arrow. Sorry, guys. Oh, I see. Okay. So I'm a bike commuter, and that's how I got started with my company. I was commuting by bike in graduate school, and I realized I still had, even though I was in grad school, I still had meetings to go to and presentations to give. And when I started commuting by bike, I realized that none of my clothing worked for movement. Clothing that was professional did not work on my bike. Wasn't high enough quality to handle that kind of movement. And so I ended up in a crossroads in my career, and I decided, well, I've always wanted to be a designer. That's what I wanted to be when I was a little girl. Maybe I'd try to design something better. And so I found Hare's Tweed is the highest quality wool tweed. Wool is actually a fantastic performing fabric. It breathes and it moves and it's sustainable. And Hare's Tweed is hand woven in Scotland. And so I took Harris tweed, and I was inspired by old school sportswear. I designed a jacket based on an equestrian design, and then used cone denim, which is from Greensboro, beautiful top of the line denim, to make a one outfit for bike commuting. And I launched a Kickstarter to do that. And I took my one outfit to bike shops throughout the country, and it was a huge failure. So why? Why didn't it work? So my original market was women who commute by bike, who care about style and quality, who have jobs who require them to look professional, who can afford investment pieces, and who care about where and how their clothing is made. I don't know if anyone knows about business in here, but yeah, obviously there was a problem. My market was way too small. It was way too small. So, and maybe I was a market of one, actually. It was a market of one. So I discovered, I dust myself off. I decide I'm gonna just meet with all kinds of women, not just biking women, and I talk to them about their apparel. And I show them my riding jacket and my denim, and I talk to them about why I made it, and I talk to them about their clothing. And I keep hearing, oh God, only about 10% of my closet works for me. Fits well, looks good. I mean, really is high quality, lasts, like you wake up every day and you put on something and you say, yeah, I look really great. I'm ready to take on my day. And what I realized is that the apparel industry, the women's apparel industry specifically, has a really outdated understanding of who women are and what they're doing. They think that we want to go shopping every week and replace our clothing, that we're not doing anything during the day, we're just sitting in a desk. You know, like a lot of women have kids and they have jobs that require them to use both of their hands. It's wild, but this is true. So, and the other thing that kept coming up is fit. So I decide, okay, I can go broader with my riding jacket, with my apparel, but how am I gonna size it? Because women are like, well, I hope it fits me, because nothing fits them, right? So, and so I think about it, I'm like, actually, it's really outdated in this day and age. Women's bodies come in all different shapes and sizes, and we have a standard sizing system that we're all supposed to squeeze into. So I thought, well, maybe technology can solve this problem. And it turns out technology can solve this problem. But as you might imagine, right, we have all this technology. Can we make better fitting clothing? So I don't know if you know this, but we are in the area that was most affected by the loss of textile and apparel jobs in the country, the Southeast. That was the bread and butter of a lot of communities out here. And we still have some really innovative manufacturers. And some of the technologies that are available are digital pattern making. So you can take a woman's measurements and upload them and adapt a pattern in real time to a woman's measurements. And you can use a computerized cutter to cut a blazer or another garment in minutes versus the hours it would take to cut a complex piece like my riding jacket. So then I thought, well, technology is great, but I really care about people. And I thought, well, maybe we can take those efficiencies and use that to bring back high quality sewing jobs. So living wage jobs based in the US, created because we can do things more efficiently in our production system. So, but then here I'm thinking, wait, this is too good to be true. Like somebody, like, why are people doing this? Okay, so you do a Google search. And, well, sorry, I mentioned the solutions are all around us, so I should say where our partners are. We've got digital pattern making in Pelser, South Carolina. Smithville, Tennessee is where the giant computerized cutter is. And Henderson is where we have a partner to do really high quality sewing. Moms get off of work in time to pick up their kids. That's pretty great. So going back to it, I thought, well, why is nobody doing this? And it turns out people are doing it, but only for menswear. So as you might imagine, men have huge issues with fit because they have breasts and hips. So yeah, so okay. Well, so anyway, I mean, just, okay, let us make clothing for you. Good for you. Make clothing. I'm a little bitter. We can talk about why this might be afterwards. So anyway, and these are just the top things that come up. There are hundreds of entries for made-to-measure menswear, and really hardly anything for women. So then I got to the point where I had identified the partners, and I felt that the work was really promising. Their solutions are being used for other things that are analogous to the challenges that women's wear faces. And so I thought, I think I got to try this out. But here it is. I was just this one woman with a problem with my biking clothes. So who am I to solve a big problem with fit and try and work on jobs? Like, that's not what I imagined that I would be doing. And so I thought, well, do I have the power to solve a big problem? And, well, I don't know, but the only thing that I can do at this point is to try. And that's all that we really do. If we see a big problem and we have a solution, we have to try. And that's, the only difference from me and somebody else that's solving a big problem is, we're trying. And so on Tuesday, we're launching a campaign to test out our system on I Fund Women, a really cool platform for women. You should check it out. It's there to close the investment gap for women. And we're going to be testing out this system with 5 super inspiring local women professionals, all different shapes and sizes, all beautiful, who are going to be our test clients. And we have a videographer that's coming out with us to the field to test it out. So, or as we test it out, we're going to be taking video feed of it all and sharing it back with our followers. The link is live now. The official launch is Tuesday, but you're welcome to go check it out and donate if you feel inclined. And we're going to be streaming the different testing sites on social media. So Instagram will probably be the main one for the video. And thank you. Oh, and I have invitations to our event. We have an event at the Durham Hotel, October 14th. Oh. Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Nice job. All right, a couple questions. Hands up. Questions. I'll ask you, what's been the biggest challenge, other than figuring out that you had like one person in the first market segment?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge was just finding my self-confidence over the years. And one of the points I wanted to make is going for a small problem, it actually allowed me to build up some confidence before I tried to go for a big problem. And I think that a lot of times, especially women in my generation, we don't have a lot of business owners and leaders to look up to. So we may have sponged up the idea that we're not innovators, that we're not business leaders, and we have to kind of demuck that because we are, And so the biggest challenge is probably getting to a place where I feel confident enough to tackle a big problem.
This is a lot more sensitive than I thought it was. Have you ever had trouble finding a role model, like throughout just becoming the person you are now, and never felt like they're, do you have any great role models to point out, or have you ever had a lack thereof and not knowing what to do about it, or what have you done about that?
So I actually, one of the challenges is I'm rethinking women's apparel in a lot of ways. So I had to look for non-traditional mentors outside of apparel. And so I actually have a lot of mentors. I have apparel mentors. I have businesswomen mentors. I have friend mentors, which is really just cheerleaders. I think fellow businesswomen peers are actually super, super helpful, because they allow you to see that the struggles that you're having are completely normal, that you're not crazy for pursuing the idea that you're pursuing, and that it's okay to fall down a few times on that path. So yeah, it's a long answer, but okay.
Great job. You and I should link up sometime. I have a similar path to you. I also tried to start a footwear company probably about 10 years ago. I'm a big avid shoe collector and lost about $50,000 going after a market of like one. We aimed at like lifestyle for kids who rode BMX bikes. Why? I don't know. So we learned that quickly that was not a market. So I feel your pain, but I think you're on the right path. So I'm sure this new shift and, as they say, pivot is going to be great for you. Okay, Stephanie Scotty, you are next up. Stephanie Scotty prepares business leaders to deliver winning presentations that consistently outperform the competition, gain recognition, win new business, and shape policy all the way up to Capitol Hill. This is impressive. At age 22, Stephanie was working the president's cabinet. Today, she is a trusted communications consultant to Fortune 500 executives, and she is absolutely thrilled to be here today, and I'm thrilled to have you here. We should also link up sometime. 22 years old running the president's cabinet, huh? You should just, here, stand up here and drop the mic. Well, don't do it. It's mine.
Hello, RTP180. Nice to be with you all this evening. Thank you so much for being here. I have a story I have to share with you that is somewhat embarrassing. A couple weeks ago, I tried to send an email to some clients. Here's the email address. Guess what? It didn't work. 2 days later, I found out nobody got their emails. I found out the problem, and here's the second one. Now, can you figure out the difference between these two sets of email addresses? Yeah, what is it? Comma versus a semicolon, you've got it. That one small difference, that change, was pivotal to me achieving my goals. So small, I felt so stupid, but you know what? It got fixed and it happened. Now you might say to me, what in the world does a comma have to do with giving a presentation? Because that's what my life is all about, giving presentations. And the truth of the matter is that what I've learned is that sometimes it's the comma, those small changes that make the pivotal difference. And so what I did in preparing for tonight is I actually reached out to 40 women that I've worked with over the years. And I asked them, can you share with me the comma-sized change that helped you achieve the result you needed to do? Now, these are women with national and global enterprises. They are from director through C-suite. And I was really surprised to see that no matter what level they were, there was a theme that came through that made the critical difference for them. And that's what I'm going to share with you. 3 tips that they said was pivotal to them achieving success. Now, if you want to share them with others as we go along, here's how you can do it, and would love for you to do that. But let's go ahead and get started. Is this picture perhaps capture your greatest fear when you get up to speak? That your audience will react like this? Well, what I find happens is that if your audience is reacting in this way, if they're going to sleep, whether literally or figuratively, chances are it's because the speaker, and if you're the speaker, you're trying to shove 10 pounds into a 5-pound bag. You know, it's kind of like a fire hose of information is going out at people. And that is lovingly referred to as information overload. And this is what it looks like to me. Now, any of you who live in Chapel Hill, anybody live in Chapel Hill here? This is a woman's car in Chapel Hill. You'll find it at Eastgate. Usually, have you seen it? Okay. I met her. She let me take the picture. Anyways, this is her car. But this, to me, is the epitome of information overload. You know, when you start to share so much information with someone, they just can't take it all in. So what can you do? What's your solution? Well, you know what? Here's one of the tips they suggested I share with you. And that is, you ask yourself a very simple question. And that question is, what? What does your audience absolutely need to know about that topic to make the decision or the call to action that's required? And that may sound really simple, but I can tell you no matter who I've worked with over the years, it's the hardest question for them to answer because you have to be ruthless. You have to repeatedly ask yourself, what do they absolutely need to know? Not, what do I think is really cool? Or what's the latest thing? Or what do I get the best reaction from? But what do they absolutely need to know? Now, some people call this your core message. Other people, you maybe hear it referred to as your theme or your takeaway message. But the way I like to think about it is I refer to it as your unique perspective. Because every one of you in here, if you were given the same topic to talk about, each one of you would have a different point of view. You'd have your unique perspective in order to share it with the world. So what can these unique perspectives look like? Let me give you a sample of two real clients and what they came up with. This is one of my favorites. It was a holistic nutritionist in New York. She was speaking to some bankers. Now, nutritionist speaking to bankers about nutrition. If they didn't remember anything else, what did she want them to remember? I thought this was rather clever. Everything you eat contributes to your bottom line. Was a good one, wasn't it? If they didn't remember anything else, she'd be thrilled if they remembered that. And everything she said in that workshop was to support that one simple sentence. Here's another one. This is from Vicki. Vicki's a vice president in the apparel industry. And you might wonder, apparel industry, why do we have somebody skateboarding? She's with Vans. And so one year she was talking to her folks and setting the goals for the year. And what she wanted them to remember, if nothing else, is that we will be fierce competitors in the marketplace. That was the mantra for her team for the entire year. Anything they said or did had to support that. Simple sentence, but took a lot of work to get there. Tip number one, craft your message to keep it simple, develop your unique perspective. That's what they want me to let you know. Second one, can be summarized in one word. The word is practice. How many of you actually practice a talk before you have to give it? Raise your hand. Okay, pretty good. How many of you practice it 5 times? A couple hands went up. That's wonderful. The one thing I have learned over the years, and what they shared with me, is that you have to say it out loud. What you hear in your head and what comes out of your mouth are two very different things. And it's only when it comes out of your mouth that you realize what trips you up, what sounds good, what's going to resonate with your audience, and most importantly, how long is it really? You never know the length till you say it out loud. And what we've learned over the years is about the first 2 or 3 times, I can pretty much guarantee you, you're going to be editing it. What's done on paper is only 70% done in reality. By about the 3rd time you're done editing it, by the 4th time you're making that transition to practice your delivery, and by 5th time your confidence is growing as a result of it. So somebody earlier today, I'll tell you the truth, when I was practicing this, said to me, Stephanie, I think it takes more than 5 times. And I said, well, you're right, but I work with business leaders. And if I told them more than 5 times, they'd never do it. So let's get them to 5 times, let them say, oh, let's do it again, and we can practice. So we have 2 tips. Let's go on to our third. The third one is truly transformational. And that is, you may think that you're in the drop-in space at the frontier. You may think so. And it's a pretty cool place to be. And I have an office on the 3rd floor, so I think it's a wonderful place to be. But you know what? You're not really there. You're really in my living room. And that's not my living room, guys. But you're really in my living room. Because I got here early and I walked this entire room. You can even ask Anna, who coordinates this, and we clicked through the slides and I walked up on the stage and I made this room the family room or living room in my home where I am most comfortable. And from my point of view, I love you guys are here as listeners, but I also see you as my guests. And when you're a host, what's your job? To make people comfortable. So when you step up to speak, get there early. I don't care if it's the conference room down the hall or a totally new venue. Get there early. Walk the room, adjust what you need to make it your own. And you know what? When you before you step up to speak, greet your audience, shake their hands, get some rapport going there. So when you step up, all of a sudden, you're talking to guests in your home. So these are 3 tips. Would you play along with me and say them out loud with me? First one, develop your unique perspective. Practice out loud and transform the room. And perhaps one of those tips could be the comma that makes a pivotal difference in your next presentation. But you know what? I gotta ask you to wait, because there's more. There's more. Over 50% of the women wrote me after I wrote this presentation, developed it, and said, Stephanie, please share this with them as well. When you step up to speak, you may be a woman who's stepping up to speak, but in that moment, what you are is a business leader. Please ask them to remind themselves that that's what they are every time they step up to speak, the leader that can show the way. So there you go at RTP180. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure.
With all due respect,
Yes.
can I call you the bus driver? Because you just took everybody to school.
Oh. I hope in a good way, but I'm done.
Very nice job. Very nice job. Couple questions. You didn't have a clue where I was going with that, did you? I didn't either.
As long as I have the right people on the bus.
That's right, yeah. If all these people are going with you, I think you're all right.
That was a great presentation. I am a Toastmaster. Would you recommend Toastmasters for people who want to improve their public speaking?
Yeah, you know what? I do recommend Toastmasters for people who want to improve their public speaking. And I do it for a specific reason and for specific clients, not for everybody. But when I have a client that needs constant rehearsal and practice and can benefit from that, absolutely. I suggest Toastmasters to them. For those of you that don't know Toastmasters, perhaps you'll want to give it a little plug over there. But it's a great organization to develop your public speaking skills, quite active here in the Triangle. And for some of my business leaders, it's what lets them go really from point A to point B and develop their voice at the table.
Would you say that an audience is forgiving? So like, what's your biggest maybe uh-oh moment on stage? I know the comma thing and everything, but maybe in front of everybody, what's the biggest, oh, just said that, or ooh, forgot to say that? And then how do you recover, and is the audience forgiving?
You know, first of all, I want you to know your audience is your biggest fan. They want you to succeed for no other reason than they just don't want to have to worry about you. I mean, that's the bottom line. They don't want to have to worry about you. But my favorite story, if I can share it, is my friend Eddie, who I was working with as he was prepping to get ready for a big presentation. And Eddie's biggest concern was falling on his face. That's really this is a true story. He's kind of a short, stocky guy, you know, and he's bilingual. And he was in another country and he was speaking Spanish, which is his primary language. And lo and behold, he was doing a 2-day sales seminar, walked up on the stage on the first day, and he did. He fell flat on his face. And we talked about all the different alternatives and everything he could do. And he stood up and got his coat all straightened out, you know, and looked up and said, practice that all night, how'd I do? He got a standing ovation. And everybody loved him the rest of the time. So you know what, be yourself, have fun, and remember your audience is your biggest fan.
Very nice job. Fantastic. So we have one more speaker this evening, of course, certainly last but not by any means least. So Dr. Mary Dell Chilton, she's basically an icon for the Research Triangle Park. She's got a pretty long list of accolades, but I'll tell you the biggest thing that kind of stuck out to me as she's coming up here is that she is responsible for starting the ag bio industry here in the park. But yeah, yes. So Dr. Mary, if you will come on up, we will give you the stage for the last speaker of the evening. It's a privilege to have you here. Thank you so much for coming. And you don't need a clicker, right? You just need a microphone.
Thank you. I think I'll fall flat on my face. Well, you know, somehow I didn't get the message of what kind of meeting this was. And my prepared remarks seemed totally unsuitable. So I'm going to tell you something else. But it means you better grab me by the cane and pull me off after my 5 to 10 minutes is up. I thought it might interest you to know where I came from and kind of how I got here. I was a biology professor at Washington University in St. Louis, and I was doing research on a microbe that attacks plants. And in the course of doing this, we found out that that microbe was transferring some genetic information to the plant cells. And we got the idea that maybe we could put genes of our choice into plants. And but I needed to be in a place, in the right kind of place to do that. And I was kind of looking to move into a more agricultural environment. And that environment came to me, it turned out. I had a visitation from 3 businessmen in suits. They came, it was actually final exam week. And I had to abandon my kids taking their test and talk with these guys. We talked for 2 hours. I think I did most of the talking. I told them how our biology department at Washington University interacted with Monsanto. They gave us lots of money, and I explained how useful that turned out to be. And they really weren't terribly interested in that. They were interested in something else. They were interested in me. And they told me, getting toward the end of this 2 hours, they said, well, you know, our company called Ciba Geigy is going to make a move into biotechnology, in agricultural biotechnology. And, you know, we're going to set up a new lab in North Carolina. There's nothing there now. But, and we wonder, would you be interested in being a candidate for that position to develop that lab? And I said, well, let me discuss that with my husband. But eventually, we decided to take the leap. Now, bear in mind, I'm a biology professor. I know how to teach. I know how to do experiments. I know how to put genes into plant cells. But I had no idea how to do this job. I didn't even know really what it was. Well, it turned out that I accepted the position in due course. They doubled my salary. That was nice. And I moved to the Hilton Hotel across the road from their headquarters of the agricultural division in Greensboro. And we talked about where to put the lab. Now, they had determined that this agricultural biotechnology effort would be directed by a committee rather than an individual. The committee consisted of the head of the ag division, who was in Greensboro, me, who was to be determined where I would be, and then 3 Swiss executives. And you notice that it's an odd number of 5, and that the majority of the 5 are from headquarters in Switzerland, not from the US. So, well, there was discussion about where to put this lab. And what happened was that the US boss, the headquarters of the ag division, wanted to put the lab in Greensboro. That would be so simple, you know. He said, we have everything here. We have a cafeteria. We have all these chemistry labs, and we can put up a new building. We have space for it. And, you know, we can do payroll here. It'll be so much easier to manage. You know, and I'll be your US boss, and I'll be right here. So that his solution to the problem of location was to put it in Greensboro, because it would be very convenient. On the other hand, I saw that I was married to an academic chemist, and I couldn't see where he was going to find employment in Greensboro, North Carolina. And then I thought about all these scientists that we were going to hire, and I couldn't see any employment for their spouses either, whether they were male or female, either way. So I rather tended to favor the idea of putting it in Research Triangle Park. The three Swiss executives were all scientists rather than business people, and they too saw that we were not in the business of cafeterias and paychecks. We were in the business of doing research in agricultural biotechnology. That's what this lab was going to be for. And we needed to be near universities. So they saw the value of the RTP location for their new laboratory. And so eventually when it came to a vote, it was 4 for RTP and 1 for Greensboro. And here we are. Now, I told you I was living at the Hilton across the road from headquarters. We didn't know where to buy a house or what to do until that matter of location was settled. It happened that I was having my dinner in the Hilton, and a gentleman was at the next table and struck up a conversation with me. It turned out he was some kind of management consultant. And I said, oh, I'm going to be an employee, or I am an employee of Ciba-Geigy now. And he said, oh, what are you going to do for them? And I said, they call me Executive Director of Agricultural Biotechnology. And he said, well, what will the job be? And I said, well, they expect me to buy the property in Greensboro or in Research Triangle Park, where we decide, help them decide where to put it, and then to hire the scientists and to develop a portfolio of projects that are appropriate for the different businesses of this company. And he looked at me and he said, I don't believe it. He said, companies never do that. When they start a new operation like that, they always promote somebody from within. And I had to explain to him that there wasn't anybody within who had the slightest idea what agricultural biotechnology was going to be all about. So that was my introduction to how companies start a new branch, a new laboratory in a new area of science. I don't know what the next area of science will be, but when they go out and hire an academic to start a new operation from them, I wish that individual good luck. I can tell you from long experience that I had a great deal to learn, and it was fun learning it. Thank you very much.
Challenge certainly, I believe, probably accepted from some people in the room. A few questions. Got time? Are you okay answering a couple questions?
Sure.
Okay. All right, we got one back here.
Dr. Chilton, first of all, wow. Secondly, you told us about day one. What was it like? What was your company like when you left?
Could you repeat that? I didn't get it.
When you told us about how you started the business, tell us about what the business was when you decided to leave your company.
I didn't leave. I'm still there.
Yay! Woo!
It looks a lot like day one.
I am 77 years old. I refuse to retire.
So those 4 other people who are Those 4 other people who were a part of your vote, were they men?
The people who were on the committee,
Yes, when you said there were 5 and you were one of the 5, were they all men?
yeah, the man who headed the ag division was Carl Kensel, and the 3 Swiss, of course, were men. There were cantons in Switzerland at this time that didn't allow women to vote. So this was a big step for them to hire a woman to this job.
Yeah. Could you speak a little to that, maybe the challenges you faced as a woman coming into this business?
I don't think I experienced any problems with that. I don't know. I'm a scientist, woman. I mean, I obviously am a woman, but I don't think of myself in those terms.
Dr. Mary, I'll let you get off the hot seat. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, we have just one small little last thing. I want to bring up Anna Ryan, who's the program director here at RTP. She's got a quick little announcement about a special upcoming surprise. Ooh, no pressure.
Yeah, so I'll just correct you a little bit. I'm not the director. My boss is right here, so I'll correct you and say the manager. But for those of you that don't know, I am also the producer of RTP180, so it's a little bit different for me to be up here versus, behind the scenes, making everything happen. But thank you. What was that? But so as you heard this evening, there are endless number of women in this region and throughout the Triangle that are doing incredible work. So let's just give a round of applause to these women that spoke. But one of our focuses here at the Research Triangle Park is on the women that are here doing this incredible work and what we can do as the park to start to build this culture where women are helping women. And so there's a few things that we've been doing this year in particular, one of which is using this event as a platform to do that, opening the stage where women can come and share their stories. But then there's also a few others. Uh-oh, why is my battery stretch coming on? Sorry, side note. My computer's not plugged in. I know, sorry, I'm failing at my producing job right now. But so one of the things we've heard from the women is that mentoring is very important. They want to be able to talk to people who've been there, done that, ask questions, and get feedback on where they are and what they should be doing next. And so we've built a speed mentoring event for next Friday that we'd love for anyone that's interested to get involved in and register for online. But what I'm here to talk to you about tonight is a new initiative that we're launching called Trailblazer. And what it is a contest for a female entrepreneur to win 1 year of free office space right here at the Frontier. Yeah, so I'll tell you a little bit more about the details of that, but first I wanted to tell you about what a Trailblazer is. So when we were starting to develop this contest, we were thinking through, okay, well, who are we building this for? And I came across this quote from the CEO and co-founder of Birchbox, and it says, whatever it is that you think you want to do, and whatever it is that you think stands between you and that, stop making excuses. You can do anything. And so in reading this, I thought, that really signifies what a trailblazer is. And you've heard that from some of the women like Reed, who set out to solve a problem that she had, Mary Dell for pioneering a whole career field or industry. And so that really stuck with me, is that we want this to be for women that are going after those challenges, not afraid of, the unknown, and they're really there to pursue their dreams. And so what is it? The prize, 12 months of free office space here at the Frontier. If you've never been here before, the first floor is all free co-working, and then the other floors are office space. And so by winning this contest, you'd get access to that community. There's about 120 companies that are located here, so you'd get to pass them in the halls, meet them at events, rub elbows with people that are going through some of the same struggles, and have this community sense. Along with that, you'll get free use of the conference rooms for team meetings or investor pitch preparation, all those types of things. We're going to do a video and a blog feature that will be on RTP's platforms, and you'll be able to use for your own marketing efforts as well. And then access to the community events. Things like this, we do happy hours, we do community workshops where we're teaching businesses or teaching on topics to help you with your business. And then this is one that I really love, is that 20 hours of free business consulting. So we notice some of these companies down here that have dedicated hours to help this winner with their business, with things like customer engagement, funding. Reed talked about iFund Women. They're here to help in crowdfunding and efforts to get these women businesses off the ground. Unity, which is a digital agency working on branding, and also SEO and web development. So these are all groups that have come together as part of this frontier community that want to help this winner succeed. And so we're really excited about that. So how do you apply? So Trailblazer, rtp.org/trailblazer, is a 3-step process. The first is to submit your executive summary. So just tell us in 300 words or less what it is that you're working on or trying to accomplish. Phase 2 is your full-scale business plan. What market analysis have you done? Who's your customer? All those types of things. And the third is a little more fun, and we're excited for it, is to do a video. Tell us why you are the next Trailblazer, and we're going to allow the public to weigh in on who we should choose for that. And so in closing, I just want to say that we're very excited to launch this new initiative, and we hope that some of you will apply, or if you have a neighbor or a friend or a colleague, maybe it's their side hustle that they want to make their main hustle, encourage them to apply, because we would really like to see some incredible women come through this. So thank you.
All right, I promise I won't keep you too much longer. Thank you, Anna. By the way, Anna does put all this together with the help of Julie and all the other RTP staff. I just get up here on stage and have fun. They have to do all the hard stuff behind the scenes, so they've been doing it for over 4 years. So you can thank them for this great event. One last little announcement. STEM in the Park. So that's a big part of RTP is STEM. And one of the big events that they do is a STEM Expo. It's a huge event. I've gone to pretty much every single one of them, 450 plus students in a room, huge event. It is coming up. They need volunteers to help run everything basically. So if you are interested, please email Maddie Evans at evans@rtp.org if you would like to get a little bit more involved in that coming up soon. Everybody good? How was it? Yeah? Thank you, ladies, for coming this evening and sharing your stories and passions. It was awesome. So a couple of small little things to note. I write a blog post surrounding the event afterwards. So what I do is I go back, I watch all the video footage, and then I write a recap. So I'll be looking for that here soon, hopefully next week, if not the first of the following week. And then come back. As you noticed, a lot of hands came up for first timers. We do this every third Thursday, and the topic changes every single month. Next month will be travel. So we'd love to see you back next month on the third Thursday for travel. Otherwise, have a wonderful evening. Thank you all again for coming, and hopefully we'll see you next time.